Good evening, everyone, and welcome to digiMAX Sports Network. This is Scott Kirker. Tonight we're bringing you exciting Mid-Atlantic Conference action on both the softball field and the baseball field. We'll have our primary coverage of the softball game as Metamora looks to kind of get a little bit of a foothold on the Mid-Atlantic Conference right behind East Peoria as they play a very good Dunlap Eagle team. We'll also have updates and coverage of the Metamora baseball game against Limestone. This is a big game, though, for Metamora softball. They won last night over in Morton, 10-0. They came back tonight, played Morton again, and beat them 9-5. So this is kind of a split doubleheader for the ladies, and a very big game for Metamora when it comes to seeding and in the conference play also. I'll get a little bit of input, too, from Alex Staub, who's also the PA guy for Metamora tonight. Alex, this is about as big a game as Metamora gets in the Mid-Atlantic Conference.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, the Mid-Atlantic Conference for softball is one of, if not the best conference in the state, and matchups like tonight are why it is that. I mean, you got Sutton Centoni with a .68 earned run average for Dunlap. Nora Johnson's around a 1.40. I joked with Derek Linder after the Morton game yesterday, first team to one. You know, potentially winning this ball game, it legitimately could be like that. And you mentioned the postseason seeding. The winner, if Metamora wins, they likely, no conversation, no questions asked, are the one seed in their subsectional. If they lose, Dunlap has a chance to clinch it tomorrow at East Peoria, but it at least opens up the conversation as to who would be of lesser fortune, would likely drop to the 2 line and have to play Pontiac, who has Stanford recruit Elena Krause in the circle, and took Metamora an RBI ground out to beat Pontiac earlier in the season. And so you're facing that quality of a team in your regional if you're unable to get the fortunes your way here tonight. But without a doubt, this is the biggest game of the season for Metamora.
Yeah, this is a very big game, and I thought the first game Metamora played pretty good pretty good softball in that first game.
Yeah, I think, there's a bit of growing pains off of the quick turnaround, maybe a little bit of looking ahead to the big game tonight. I think there's a lot of ground to make up, a lot of pop-ups, but they came around at the right moment. I think it's just, this is a game that people have been talking about for a long time. Alpha games here, you don't have to worry about looking ahead or any of that, but I do think there's maybe a little bit element of that mentally in the opener.
Yeah, and I thought that, when they needed their best hitters to come through, Kerrigan Hartnett and Cadence Till both went deep, big home runs to tie it and then give Metamora the lead, and then they added on late in the game. And I thought that's a signal of a good team.
And I think the one thing that'll be really interesting to watch in this game, and I think they're about to wrap up, so I'm going to make this quick, Metamora has the experience in big games. They know how to treat big games, and I think, not saying that Dunlap hasn't, but we'll see if that pays off here. So I'm going to take over for starting lineups, if you don't mind.
No problem. I think Alex hit the nail on the head, though. I think when you have a coach and players who've been in big games and important games, that's huge. As a softball team gets ready for their starting lineups.
First for Dunlap. Leading off a senior at third base, number 8, Justice Cruz. Batting second, a freshman in right field, number 2, Lexi Hamer. Batting third, a senior in center field, number 24, Brooklyn Milholland. Hitting cleanup, a senior, catching, number 34, Shelby Covey. Batting fifth, a sophomore, the designated player, number 27, Gabby Drake. Batting sixth, the junior left fielder, number 12, Ella Cunningham. Batting seventh, a sophomore, tonight's starting pitcher, number 23, Sutton Centoni. Batting eighth, a senior at first base, number 18, Hannah Hopwood. Batting ninth, a senior at second base, number 19, Haley Powers. The flex player for the Eagles, a junior at shortstop, number 3, Mara Hindenburg. The head coach of the Dunlap Eagles in her second season is Jermaine Fairchild. Now, the starting lineup for your Metamora Redbirds. Leading off the senior designated player, number 11, Kerrigan Hartnett. Batting second, a junior shortstop, number 1, Caden Still. Batting third, a junior center fielder, number 27, Ellie Schaefer. Batting cleanup, a junior right fielder, number 20, Addie Pesha. Batting fifth, a junior, the starting pitcher, number 9, Nora Johnson. Batting sixth, the junior left fielder, number 16, Bailey Bender. Batting seventh, a junior catcher, number 18, Avery Taylor. Batting eighth, a sophomore third baseman, number 12, Addie Wooden. Batting ninth, a junior second baseman, number 8, Kennedy Nee. The flex player for the Redbirds, the senior first baseman, number 13, Bree Besser. The Redbird assistant coaches for Christy Ballard and Jody Bowen. The head coach of your Redbirds in his 19th season, Derek Linder. Our umpires for tonight's ball game, calling the balls and strikes, is Mr. Dave Allen. And on the bases, Isaiah Doty. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise and face our nation's colors as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
Well, I got to say, this is probably the nicest night we've had to cover a game all season long. Both teams are getting ready to start. The baseball game is just about ready to start as Metamora takes their final warm-up pitches, and Limestone will come to bat. I do apologize. The score icon at the bottom of the screen will still have Metamora Dunlap, even though sometimes we'll switch over to the Limestone Metamora game, boys game. We'll keep you updated on those scores.
And, Scott, if I may cut in before first pitch, I mean, we start off out of the gate red hot. Justice Cruz, one of the best power bats in the Mid-Illini Conference, 5 homers, 20-something RBI. Hasn't been hitting the power ball great of late. She did have a home run yesterday in their win over Limestone, but you still got to be very careful with her. She can hit it out of the park real easy. You got her, you got Shelby Covey, Gabby Drake. I mean, there's at least 3 or 4 Eagles can hit it out if we're not careful.
So Metamora will have to be on top of their game and took care of business last night and tonight before this game, winning both games against Morton. Alex, what does Metamora come in as record-wise? You getting ready to do the...
Metamora is now 19... hold on a second. Metamora is now 19-4 overall, 7-1 in the Mid-Illini, a half game behind East Peoria.
pretty good record. They played an awfully tough schedule.
And at least based on the original, at least supposed to play, I feel like we have to disclose that every spring. But 13 ICA state-ranked opponents on the Redbird schedule.
Nice pitch. Struck out that first hitter. First out of the inning. Brings up Lexi Hamer, the right fielder for the Eagles. Good pitch. Got to give it to the Metamora ground crew, Kurt Ryan and Randy Tepke. They've done a great job of getting all these fields ready to go. It took them a couple of days, but we had like 4 inches of rain. It's been a wet spring, and they did an outstanding job. These fields look great. Oh, that's a nice play. Brings up Brooklyn Milholland. She's the center fielder. Limestone 1-0 so far over Metamora in the baseball game. Oh, ground back to the pitcher. And she makes an easy out. For Limestone. No runs, no hits, no one left. We go to the bottom of the first. Still scoreless. Oh, it's Dunlap. I want to mess up, I'm sure, tonight. For Metamora, it'll be Harrigan Hartnett, Hayden Still, and Ellie Schaefer, the first 3 batters in the Redbird lineup.
And again, Scott, I will say this normally, not to sound like I'm tooting my own horn. I would like to think I'm fairly well versed in Middle Illini softball. This is the first time I've seen Sutton Santoni live. We've already talked a couple times about her sub-1 ERA. She's got 122 strikeouts on the year, like some ridiculous figure, like 3 to 5 no-hitters, couple perfect games. And I mean, I'm excited to see her pitch for the first time. And, you know, I think we can selfishly say one of, if not the toughest lineups she's faced to this point of the year, other than maybe East Peoria. And again, Scott, just a sophomore.
Wow.
She's going to be a problem in the conference for the next couple of years.
But they don't even have a JV team, so they don't have enough.
Well, they do. It's Morton that doesn't have a JV team. Dunlap, long story short, when we play there for varsity May 16th, we're going to have a JV doubleheader here while that game is going on in Dunlap.
Oh, okay. So why didn't they have one tonight?
Your guess is as good as mine, my friend. I just worried about the varsity schedule. What games need me to announce, Derek? I'll be there.
Now 2-0 Limestone in the first. First pitch is inside. Alex, would one of the key things tonight is to make her work? Don't, try to go deep into counts?
Deep in the counts, deep in her pitch arsenal as well. Because she's got a pretty good plethora of pitches, but you got to force her to use the whole textbook here and hope the Redbirds can eke out a run or two against it.
The count.
I will say this, Scott. I need to do better at softball pitch identification. but I mean, you can hear the seams whipping on the ball coming in. That hasn't happened often.
Ooh, pretty good play by the center fielder. She almost nonchalanted that into a hit. Brings up Cadence Till.
And the interesting thing, Scott, with this matchup here, this is actually the first time, at least in conference play, that Shelby Covey has caught Sutton Centoni. Gabby Drake seemed to have been her designated catcher to start league play, so I'm not saying anything is going to play into it because of that, but just, something, little nugget to maybe keep in the back pocket going forward.
Base hit for Till. A solid hit back up the middle. Brings up Ellie Schaefer. Call that a strike. Ooh.
I tell you what, Scott, I think, obviously we've got 2 outs to play with, still the inning's far from over. But in terms of instilling confidence in the Redbird bats that they were able to get a hit in the first inning, it's definitely a step in the right direction. But we got a lot of ground to go, though.
That first strike looked awfully low and inside, didn't it?
I wouldn't say so much on the low part from our angle, but I did think it was a little inside.
One and two the count on Schaefer.
I tell you what, Scott, I hope I don't have to eat my words, but Centoni is, maybe she's just playing around with the corners of the zone, but it hasn't exactly been an entirely accurate first inning in terms of spotting the zone. But maybe she just likes to paint the corners. I don't know. We'll wait and find out.
Well, like a lot of major league pitchers, if you're going to get him, you got to get him early. Still 2-2 with 1 out here in this first. Full count. Schaefer grounds out to the second baseman. Till moves up 60 feet, brings up Addie Pasha, the right fielder. 2 down here in the inning, runner in scoring position.
So, Scott, we're, 4 batters in, and there have been, 2, if not 3, 2 or more ball counts, I think?
Yeah. Pretty good pitch there. That'll be for the Redbirds. No runs, 1 hit, 1 runner left. We go to the top of the second. Still no score. Two up for the Eagles here in this bottom, or the top half of the second inning, will be Shelby Covey, Gabby Drake, and Ella Cunningham. Good pitch by Johnson. Get that first out. Brings in Gabby Drake, the designated player. Good play by Hartnett. Pretty good pitch. Another nice pitch.
I'm not going to lie, Scott. I'm a bit surprised we got that call. I mean, maybe she'd get it on a 2-strike count, but that was right on the fringe.
Oh, pretty low on that one.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, it's one pitch.
Yeah. That's popped up. That looks like it's right at the... Pop out to the left fielder. Brings up Ella Cunningham, left fielder.
And, you know, kind of an interesting little side note, Scott. There was actually, in my opinion, other than maybe us, a lot of turnover conference-wide. And just in terms of starters returning and whatnot, I mean, you had numerous teams in the league with maybe only 2-3 starters returning. Dunlap, the only team in the conference that returns all 10 starters from a year ago, flex DP included.
Wow.
I mean, they are pretty young, so you put 1 and 2 together, that's pretty likely that would be the case. But still, in a year with so much turnover, I'm sure they're pleased to have a good quarterback.
For sure.
And real briefly, Limestone upset Pekin earlier this afternoon, 6-5.
In the baseball game, still 3-0 Limestone. Good play by Kerrigan Hartnett. So for Dunlap, no runs, no hits, no one left. We go to the bottom of the second inning. Still no score. Metamora up to bat. I'm not sure who the hitter is for Metamora.
Nora. Nora Johnson will lead off.
Well, we're looking at the baseball game here.
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear that part.
Tyler Mason batting for Metamora. We have runners on first and second with, one out? Ball a little low. I see Mason come through, get a hit. Tough angle to watch a game from this, but not the only angle we can get. They're going to try a pickoff throw. A little low. For Metamora, the softball. Nora Johnson will go back to the softball game. We'll come back if there's any action in the baseball game, but Nora Johnson, Bailey Bender, and Avery Taylor. They said no score yet in the baseball game. Mason. Mason flies out to the left fielder for 2 outs in the inning. I believe that's Stephen Petrie now up for the Redbirds. Where Johnson 1 and 2 here in the softball game. Out. Brings in Bailey Bender. A little high and outside. One and two the count. Struck her out. Brings in Avery Taylor. The end of 1 in the baseball game. Limestone 3, Metamora 0. We head to the second. Metamora baseball team comes in at 8 and 10 on the year. Playing some pretty good baseball here lately. All inside makes it 3 and 1 on the Redbird catcher. And she'll walk. Bringing up courtesy runner. Lauren Riddle comes in courtesy run for Taylor. Brings in Eddie Wooden, the third baseman for Metamora. A little wide. Stolen base for Riddle. Nice jump. So for the second time this game, second time in both innings, we've had runner. Ooh, that one. Pretty good heads-up base running by Riddle. Should third base. Pretty good play by the third baseman to come up with that ball. If that gets by her, Metamora grabs that early lead without the benefit of a hit. Pretty good cut by Wooden.
Scott, we've got an interesting situation here. If you look at the light stands around the ballpark,
they're all going out.
Yeah, a lot of them are out, and it's 7:20 at night.
Yeah.
So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I know when they turned them on, only a couple of them came on. I wonder what happened. That popped straight up. For Metamora, no runs, no hits. One runner left. We go to the top of the third. Still no score.
And I tell you what, Scott, you know, I think our hope has got to be at this point that enough of them are lit that it doesn't affect play. But, I mean, I'm looking out of the left field corner one. There's 5 lights completely out, counting at least 5, if not 6, on the right field corner. That's not good.
Yeah, and all of the baseball lights are out.
Are out?
Yeah.
Ooh. Didn't they just have issues with them a couple weeks ago?
Not that.
Or maybe it's still carried over from earlier in the year when the lights were not working or something. I thought I had heard.
Well, we've had some night games and they were fine.
Huh, okay.
Brings up Sutton Santoni, the pitcher for the Eagles, followed by Hannah Hopwood and Holly Powers. All inside. That's not a bad pitch, though, 0-2. Now even it up at 2-2.
And not bad to tease that outside part of the plate because they've been getting that outside part, and especially with a 2-strike count, could easily bait a swing and miss there.
Oh, nice pitch. One down in the inning. That brings up Hannah Hopwood. Although, Alex, a couple lights just popped on now.
Maybe if it's like a bad TV, and if we keep talking bad about it, they'll all pop on. You go up there, climb a ladder, and pop on them a couple times and see if that does the trick.
Now the baseball lights are starting to come on now, too. Ooh. Brings up Haley Powers, number 9 hitter for Dunlap. That was a nice play by Metamora. Quickly 2 down. In the baseball game, it's still 3-0. Limestone at the bottom of the second inning. Couldn't hold up. Now 1-2 the count on the number 9 hitter, Powers, for the Eagles.
And I do want to add, Scott, Nora right now with 388 career strikeouts. That's counting tonight. Trying to be, we think, the first Redbird pitcher ever to accumulate 400 career. And think about this. She's got a whole nother season next year.
Wow. Two and two the count.
Knee, Hartnett, Till due up in the bottom half, Scott, so we'll see here.
Ooh, now she's rushed it to a full count. Big pitch for Johnson. Oh, that'll drop in for a hit. Pretty good effort by Till. That'll drop in for a base hit. Brings up Justice Cruz. She struck out back in the first. That breaks up the no-hitter in the perfect game. She was 8 up, 8 down.
And, Scott, if there's one thing more dangerous than the power bat of Justice Cruz, it's Justice Cruz with a runner on base. Again, one of the better power hitters in the conference, in my opinion.
Redbirds get that call. And that's another hit for Dunlap. You have 2 runners on with 2 outs. Brings in Lexi Hammer She grounded out to the first baseman back in the first.
Oh, did you see that, Scott?
Yeah, all the lights on the field went out.
This is going to be a problem. I don't mean to keep harping on it, but I mean, if that keeps up, I don't mean to be that guy, but could we be talking suspension due to darkness for both games?
Yeah, because the baseball field lights went out too. Tom has a candle. That's up and out of play. Still 1-2 the count. Hamer. It evens it up at 2. It's number 2, the hitter, number 2. The number 2 hitter in the order. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the second. And struck her out. That's a great way to come back. No runs, 2 hits, 2 runners left. We go to the bottom of the third. Still no score.
And Scott, I think I know exactly what this conversation is about behind home plate. Same thing we've been talking about this whole last half inning.
The lights.
Because here's the problem. This is too significant a game to waste on playing through darkness.
Right.
We'll see here. Eric Linder looked like he was going to turn up and say something to me, but I guess not. Could have a Ravens 49ers Super Bowl situation.
Yeah, the baseball umpires are. I guess they're going to go ahead and play probably one more inning.
I was going to say because we only have maybe another inning, if anything.
Yeah. Brings up Kennedy Nee, lead off this bottom half of the third inning, and the normal number 1 or leadoff hitter for the Redbirds batting number 9. So Metamora could have something going if we can put together a nice little.
I'll jump in and say that Kennedy has actually been put in the 9 spot the last maybe 2 or 3 games. So what Coach Linder has done with that, I think, is utilizing Kennedy more as a second leadoff. And then Kerrigan Hartnett's been on a pretty good stretch with 8 multi-hit games on the season. So he shifted her up to the top of the order. So that's what he's been rolling with about maybe 2 or 3 games.
More RBI chance.
Who do you think would be more upset if this game got suspended due to darkness?
Oh, Dunlap, for sure. They'd have to make another trip out here. That's a strike.
Because it's the difference with this, and I know I referenced the Ravens 49ers Super Bowl outage in New Orleans, but the difference in that is there was points on the board and somebody was losing, somebody had momentum, and that changed the momentum. You know what I mean?
That was halftime, though.
Well, but still, like there was momentum to be lost or gained, and in a scoreless ball game, is there momentum? Right now, at least in the current status of the game, I don't think there's
no momentum, but he will draw the walk. Nice at bat. A real nice at bat. I'll bring up Kerrigan Hartnett. She flew out to medium deep center field her first time up. The ball was pretty well hit. So the end of 2 in the baseball game, Limestone 3, Metamora 0.
You know what, Scott? We just brought up a good point here in the press box. I mean, obviously, Dunlap's going to want to complete the game in the event that we call it, but here's a theory. What if Metamora, actually, or Dunlap for that matter, has a lead after the point of an officially completed game after 4.5 innings?
Ooh, that'd be a tough way to win. Tough way to lose.
It could be 3.5 because isn't Major League Baseball 4.5? So
5,
half a 9 or
5.
Well,
5.
Well, 5.5, 5 if the visiting team's winning.
Right.
4.5 if the home team's winning. So I wonder if it's only 3.5 for softball. Therefore, could we try and get a run up on the board here and claim official game after the next half?
Do you not play each team twice in the Mid-Atlantic?
We do, but this is the only one that matters towards postseason seeding because we don't play Dunlap until May 16th in Dunlap.
And the seedings will already be out.
Yeah, in fact, actually the regional will only be 5 days later after that game. Hey, I tell you what, though, our lights work.
Our lights.
Press box.
Oh, yeah. Three and two the count. And that'll be back-to-back walks. Woo. I bet she hasn't done that very much this year. You know, right player, right time, too, man. This is... You got to feel good if you're Derek Linder right now. This is a big part of the game right now. Ooh, the lights just came back on for the baseball field. And they're just now starting to come back on the softball field. Well, they're tired. It's been a long day. If we take this a little more time, I think Tom Hagen would shinny up one of these poles and see if he can get them fixed. A ring-tailed lemur. Two on with nobody out here in this bottom half of the third inning. Metamora threatening with their best hitter up to bat, Cadence Till. Got their Redbirds' only hit back in the first.
It's hard to put this kind of label on an at-bat this early in the game, but at least to this point, it's the biggest at-bat of the game because you got base running situation, the pitcher, the batter that's at the plate. It's a big spot.
Ooh, now she's in a hole 0-2. If Dunlap's able to get past Till, that's going to be a huge momentum swing for them. And if Till can come through with a hit with 2 strikes, that's going to be huge for Metamora. I just love the way Till, she's got such a command of that strike zone. You know, some of those pitchers are, 0-2 with a great pitcher on the mound. That was a pretty good take. And that's a base hit. Oh, that's a great job by Till.
Scott, that is massive. I cannot understate this whatsoever. That is the first earned run allowed by Sutton Centoni in conference play.
You know, it's just Cho just being just a great athlete. That's huge. Now you still got runners in scoring position. I got two runners in scoring position with nobody out. Ellie Schaefer comes up. She grounded out to the second baseman. We head into the bottom of the third inning over in the baseball game. Metamora trails 3-0. Yeah, does it look like maybe Centoni's maybe just a slight bit rattled?
Well, I think, and again, this is a testament to how dominant she's been this season. She's never really been in this situation before, at least in conference play.
We've put runner, or at least one runner on base every inning.
Correct.
And that'll be a walk for Schaefer. Bases loaded, nobody out, with Addie Pasha coming to the plate. She struck out back in the first. That's a pretty hard. I'm going to give her a base hit on that.
Agreed, Scott, because it hit the third baseman, then the batter.
Would mean the runner?
You know what I meant.
It's 2-0 with nobody out.
I mean, Scott, we can't be satisfied with two either, especially with who's due up for Dunlap, Milholland, Covey, Drake. That's a terrific part of their order, so got to keep pushing.
And more lights are on now than ever.
So you talk about hitting the lights out. Have the Redbirds hit the lights on?
Kind of. All right, Alex, go stand in the corner again.
Hey, I've come up with worse dad jokes. That's not even really a dad joke. Think about it.
Oh. Brings up Bailey Bender. Pretty good pitch there, too. One and two the count. Pretty good play by their second baseman. Brings up Avery Taylor. She walked back in the second, stranded it. Well, Lauren Riddle got stranded at third.
And I think this is a real interesting spot for Avery, Scott, because going into the Morton game, she had not made a plate appearance at the varsity level this season. It's consistently, and that's not a discredit to her. It's just trying to figure out to get the biggest bats in there, and so she made her first plate appearances in the game, in the season against Morton. It's a big spot for her.
What grade is she?
Junior.
Yeah, Alex, I think more lights are on now than ever before.
We'll take that. Because now we really want to get it in tonight.
Yeah. 1-2 the count.
Well, and this will be interesting because we've already talked about the big part of the order coming up for Dunlap, but specifically how this can give Nora Johnson confidence in the circle now that she has a 2-0 cushion to work with.
When you're playing against a team that's really good and you get a 2-run inning, and that'll be strike 3 for the Redbirds. 2 runs on 2 hits, 3 runners left. We go to the top of the 4th. Redbirds up 2-0.
Scott, that was a 32-pitch inning for Sutton Santoni. I now have her at 71 pitches through 3 innings.
Oof.
You just kind of talk about the unusual nature of having been in a situation like that. Now she has a fresh slate going up in the next half inning, no base runners, all that. So I think she welcomes that, of course. But I'd have to go back and double-check the box score. I'm almost positive. I mean, that was the first earned run. She hadn't even allowed an earned run in conference play, 0.67 on the year. So, I mean, it is extremely hard to get an earned run against her. She's a really good pitcher.
And we squeezed 2 of them across. For Dunlap in this 4th inning, it'll be Brooklyn Milholland, Shelby Covey, and Gabby Drake due up for the Eagles. And they were combined 0 for 3 in that their first trip through the order. Milholland grounded back to the pitcher. Covey grounded out to the third baseman, and Drake popped out to the center fielder.
Some kind of substitution here, Scott. I'm looking around. I don't see, because Dave Allen, our home plate umpire, signaled something to Derek Linder, but I'll let you know, or keep an ear peeled for me. But I don't see anything right now.
A little low on that first pitch. Milholland takes a ball for ball 1. It's fouled straight back. Evens the count up at 1-1. Alex, I think all the lights are on.
It's a Christmas miracle. I tell you what, speaking of Christmas, how are you going to tie Christmas into this? So Metamora is playing its first home game since April 20th against Limestone. Get the 1-2 pitch here in a second. So
that was a cold Saturday morning.
That's exactly what I was getting at, Scott. So first pitch tonight against Dunlap, I had as a real feel of 72 degrees. First pitch against Limestone back on April 20th, 45 degrees. Sports.
One and 2 the count on Milholland. Good play by Avery Taylor. It's a 2-3 putout.
Covey coming up, Scott, and I want to say Monmouth College, her
Covey?
future softball home, yeah. But I think there's like 3 or 4 future college players on this Dunlap roster. A real program renaissance here over the last year and a half, because last year they showed flashes, I'll say. You know, they weren't quite there yet, but they certainly showed flashes. Made it to the regional championship game, lost to us. But but I mean, now they're the number 2 team in the state, 15-5 on the year. They get to host a regional as well, so they don't have to, get stuck with us like they did last year. So, I mean, there's a real shot for them to win a sectional game for the first time in 13 years.
Wow. What a difference a good pitcher can make on a team.
Yes, that, and I think Jermaine Fairchild's done a terrific job in her now 2 years there. So it's technically her 3rd year in the Dunlap system. On that in a second. Actually, I'll explain it after I announce the next batter.
Oh, nice play by, is that Pasha? Yeah.
This is that sub I was telling you about, Scott Atkinson batting.
Caitlin Atkinson?
Caitlin Atkinson. Yep, one of their relief pitchers more often than not. So anyway, what I was going to get at with Coach Fairchild, actually in the past has had Division I coaching experience at Purdue Fort Wayne, and oops.
By pitch?
Welcome to the game, Caitlin. I mean, I probably should check if she's okay first, but she gave a rude welcoming to the game.
So that'll be their 3rd base runner of the game, brings up Ella Cunningham.
So let's see if I can finish my thought, Scott? So anyway, it's her 3rd year in the system, 2nd year as the varsity head coach, because the 1st year before she would be named head coach, she actually spent a year in the DGSA, that's their youth softball system, and kind of getting the feet wet and, working her name in that regard before moving into the varsity program full bore. And I think that's really helped kind of alleviate any pressures, any pain there might be from a truly new head coach, if that makes any sense.
That'll roll foul. Makes it a 0-2 count.
Big pitch, Scott.
She grounded out to the 3rd baseman back in the 2nd inning. Over on the baseball field, it's still 3-0 Limestone. It's up and out of play.
And bear in mind, Scott, obviously this game's huge that we got in front of us. Dunlap's got to go to East Peoria tomorrow.
Ooh. First play by knee. No runs, no hits, 1 runner left. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Redbirds up 2-0. Due up for the Redbirds. Wooden, knee, and then the top with Hartnett.
I tell you what, Scott, this inning will be key for momentum because, as you mentioned there with part of the order due up, we know in one way or another we're going to turn it over to the top of the lineup. It's about producing out of that part of the order as well. Obviously, 2-0 lead right now is great, but I think getting some, insurance, for lack of better words. I know it's early, but with how big a matchup this is, would be ideal to get at least another run or 2 in this inning.
Well, I think Dunlap had to feel pretty good. After that last half inning when Metamora scored 2 runs, still had the bases loaded, and they kind of stopped the bleeding. They didn't allow any more runs, and Metamora left 3 runners on base. Metamora is going to have to try and get some more runners. And the bottom of the order started that inning. Knee got a walk. She popped out to the 2nd baseman back in the 2nd. Uh-oh, that's gone.
That is huge, Scott. Addie Wooden hasn't hit a home run yet this year. Metamora just 8 home runs on the year. Big hit from Addie.
Wow, that was a shot. I cleared the fence, no problem.
And here's the other, again, a testament to how tough Dunlap's been this year. This has tied the most runs that's been scored on him in conference play.
Who else scored 3?
Limestone yesterday, actually.
Oh, that's right, 6-3.
And and before folks say, well, whoa, what happened there? So Jermaine Fairchild, I think rightfully so, rested Sutton Santoni, wanting to make sure she was 100% for today. And so that kind of can lead to some differing stat lines.
2-1 the count on Nee. Nee she's very crafty at getting on base. Three and one. I'll tell you what, the bottom of this order has done a nice job today.
It's been terrific, and I mean, you got Bailey Bender, the fielder's choice, Avery Taylor a walk, Kennedy Nee a walk, and Addie Wooden, of course, the big swing just now. It's been an awesome afternoon. Just got to keep going.
Pop out to the second baseman. That's the first out of the inning. That brings up Kerrigan Hartnett, already the 3rd time she's batted here in this early part of this game. It's only the 4th inning. She's 0 for 1. She flew out to center and walked back in the 3rd and scored the Redbirds' 2nd run. First one's in there for a strike.
Signed on to play at Spoon River College.
Nice.
And kind of a fun little anecdote, although they won't play each other this year. Get the 0-1 from Santoni to Hartnett here in a second. So, Kerrigan, like I said, Spoon River next year. On the ICC roster for at least this year is Redbird alum Kylie Hyde. She was our 3rd baseman and 9-hitter a couple years ago for the Elite 8 run in 22. And she's been a pretty big piece to them the last couple games for sure. So the bummer is we won't get a Redbird matchup for Spoon versus ICC next year, but I'm sure still worthy connection, no doubt.
Three and one the count on her also.
Santoni's struggling to find the zone, and that's incredibly rare.
I think she's just a little rattled. We've hit her pretty hard. That ball was, she squared that up, fouled it straight back.
And I'll be curious to talk, regardless of what happens over the next 3 or so innings, get Derek Linder's perspective, because, maybe it was just on paper. One could argue what they had faced to this point.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
So that's a strikeout E2, Scott. I don't know if you already had that in your back pocket.
Yep. So just one out, runner on second, brings up Cadence Till. That's not what you want to see if you're Dunlap. She had an RBI single back in the 3rd. And she was forced at the plate. Ball outside, 3-0 the count. I don't think they were really intending to give her much to hit.
Well, and Scott, funny you bring that up. So last night, I interviewed Cadence afterwards for my audio broadcast, and my first line to her, she walks, was, "Hey, congratulations, you got pitched to."
That's it.
And, I mean, she's welcome to see that, I'm sure. And Jermaine Fairchild's going to come out of the dugout, so let me pick a song here. But what I'm getting at is, like, it's hard, and I mean, obviously you probably partially expect it out of a player of Cadence's caliber, but to not be pitched to for so long and actually get pitched to, she adjusted no problem. In fact, not to keep pulling out lines here, but the line I used last night at Morton on her second RBI hit of the afternoon, I said, "Mess with the bull, you get the horns."
Ellie Schaefer, she comes to the plate. She's 0 for 1. She grounded out to the second baseman, and she walked and got stranded at third base back in the third. As we go to the baseball game, top of 5, still 3-0 Limestone. Redbirds hanging around. That's what they do best.
I tell you what, Scott, how about the race atop the baseball conference? I've been following that a lot this week with the mumbo-jumbo that I think it's Morton, Dunlap, and East Peoria are all in now.
Possibly.
Because I think Morton just took sole possession of first, last night, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, did they beat Washington?
I believe so. And it was only like 1-0. The kid from Dunlap, I can't remember his name, but pitched 8 shutout innings.
Schaefer swings through that. Yeah, it's and Metamora's kind of the spoiler, but they're still hanging around the top. They beat Morton in extra innings. They've played.
If I'm a team like that, I welcome that. I welcome being perceived like that because you don't have the pressure of, the top-ranked juggernaut that's beating the crud out of everybody. And, you can you're still, middle ground where you have some expectations, and that's a real dangerous spot if you're the opposition.
For sure. The strikeout of Schaefer. Brings up Addie Pasha. She had a single back in the third with an RBI, and she struck out in the first. She hit a rocket down the line and bounced off the third baseman.
I think has the same, if not maybe even close to better, power capabilities as her big sister Kayla, who of course played for us a couple of years ago. And I joked with Addie earlier in the season because I had to ask, well, hey, Kayla wore 20 last year. You wear it to be like keep the legacy of my big sister. And she goes, no, I just like the number. I'm like, oh, come on, Addie. The cool answer would have been, yeah, I'm wearing number 20 for her. And she goes, nah, it's just the number I picked.
Ooh. Struck her out for Metamora. 1 run on 1 hit. 2 runners left. We go to the top of the 5th. Redbirds up 3-0. Over to the baseball field. One out, no one on for the Rockets. And that fouled straight into the Redbird dugout. I'm not quite sure how he turned that.
Now, got a Limestone baseball question for you, Scott.
Okay.
I know Eddie Matthews has kind of floated between Limestone and Dunlap. Is he still with Limestone? Because I know he was over with Dunlap for a little stretch with Coach Stone. Or do you know what he's up to?
I don't know. I know that he was the basketball coach for Dunlap, one of the assistants, and now they've all resigned.
He definitely helped out with Limestone baseball, at least for a couple of years, because I remember talking with him in the dugout, and Fun fact, my second ever interview of a head coach. The first ever interview was actually Washington, the late, great Kevin Brown. Was my first ever high school interview.
Wow. Leading off for Dunlap pitcher Sutton Santoni. She struck out back in the third. That's a pretty nice pitch.
Jermaine Fairchild a little behind schedule, but I'm sure it's not a big deal to her. It's one pitch. She was only going to miss one pitch anyway.
Oh, nice pitch. We go to the bottom of the fifth inning over in the baseball field. It's still 3-0 Limestone.
I tell you what, Scott, start the strikeout counter for Nora Johnson. 9 away from 400 after that one, 391.
Popped out to the foul out.
Jim, our scoreboard operator, brings up a very good point, wanting to get her and force Justice Cruz the leadoff inning with the bases empty.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty quick inning for Johnson. For Dunlap, no runs, no hits, no one left. We go to the bottom of the fifth. Still 3-0 Redbirds. I'll tell you what, Alex. Tom's he's complaining about how much heat those lights are putting off, and he's stripping down to hardly anything now.
Well, we'll let Tom be Tom.
Any reason for Tom to don the Speedos?
And Scott, I just want to double down. I know we said it once earlier, but perhaps if folks have jumped in late, the significance of this game, again, the winner of this game likely secures the 1 seed in the subsectional. The loser of this game, particularly if it's Dunlap, almost clinches getting the 2 seed in the subsectional and having to face Stanford recruit Elena Krause in the regional in the circle. So it's a battle of trying to get off that 2 line for whoever wins this game. I think if Metamora wins it, they clinch the 1 seed. If Dunlap wins it, it at least opens up the conversation as to which one of these two get it. So I know I said it earlier in the game, but especially for our viewers that may have jumped in late, that's why this game is so huge.
We're in the bottom of the fifth in the baseball game also, and Limestone's up 3-0 over the Redbirds. Metamora's up 3-0 against the Eagles. It'll be Johnson, Bender, and Taylor for the Redbirds here in this fifth inning. First pitch is low.
I tell you what, Scott, we got to give a lot of credit to Shelby Covey behind the plate. I mean, she's taken, maybe 1 or 2 passed balls all game, and, I mean, she's taken a little bit of a beating, but, I mean, she's held her own and done pretty solid all told behind the plate, I think.
The first strike evens it up at 1-1. Johnson's 0 for 2. Pretty hard hit right at the shortstop. Nice play. Brings up Bailey Bender.
I tell you what, Scott, I know we're following baseball, we're following softball. You want a little football news that I just had come across my phone?
What's that?
So it looks like and we just kind of mentioned it up here in the press box anyway, but the Bears' new stadium plan is likely a wash. The governor's office says Bears' new $5 billion stadium proposal is, quote, a non-starter, end quote.
$5 billion?
Yeah, with a B. Well, I think the large part is, remember what they said, something like 80-90% public funds. It was so about half public funds apply. In my opinion, until the Bears actually show up to the level of their potential, they don't deserve a new stadium anyway.
Metamora gets on the scoreboard. They're now trailing 3-1 here in the bottom of the fifth with one out, no outs. Well, that's a nice hit. That gets by her. That's going to go all the way to the wall. That could be a triple for Bender, and Bender will stay with a stand-up. I'm going to say that's a triple. Alex, is that a triple?
I'd hate to break it to you. I'm going single E9.
Okay.
Because I think it did hop in front of her for a single, but it got past her after that, so that's why I'm going single E9.
Avery Taylor, the batter for the Redbirds. She walked in the second, struck out in the third. Maya Brock comes in to pinch hit. One out in the baseball game. Well, it's good to see the Birds get on the board over in the baseball game. Pretty good pitch.
As you could probably tell there, Scott, a slapper as well, so perhaps try to make contact, get the slap down, and get another run out on the board.
Yeah. Ooh, fouled up. Yeah, the bat head was lower than the bat handle. That's always going to be a foul ball. Always going to be a pop-up. Oh, and to the count. I'm sure now you have to battle. Just struck her out. Brings up Eddie Wooden. She homered her last time up back in the fourth. Hit a shot straight away center field. It would be nice to see her do that again. Ball's high. That fence isn't very far.
Remember what I said about giving Cuffy credit behind the plate?
Yeah.
we were just saying up here that might have saved a run.
Quickly 2-0 on the Redbird hitter. Strike two, 2-1. In the baseball game, we go to the top of the sixth. Redbirds trail 3-1. That's a low and away. Makes it 3-1 to count on Wooden.
That was a frame attempt and a half. Good one, though.
You can't frame something else way outside, though. Ooh.
I tell you what, I think it was an MLB catcher. You know, I get caught in these rabbit holes of fun MLB compilations where it hit the dirt, bounced away, and he came back and tried to frame it like it was middle.
Oh, that's going to score a run on the walk. That's a big run.
And again, now, Scott, we can say it, the most runs scored on Dunlap in conference play. That's, again, quite an accomplishment considering the start to league play that Dunlap's been on.
Up for the Redbirds, Kennedy Nee with 2 down here in this inning. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow night. Metamora. Alex, who does Metamora play tomorrow night?
Canton, and thank you for the segue, Scott. So Canton's in a really interesting, Oh,
that's a gapper. Oh, no, that's a great play by the right fielder. Whoa.
So I'm going to have to get Kerrigan in, but that's a great hit from Kennedy. And as soon as I have Kerrigan, I got a good thought on Canton going into tomorrow.
Brings in Kerrigan Hartnett with runners on the corners, 2 down. Go ahead, Alex.
All right, so Canton is in a real interesting predicament. They had a real good young pitcher coming in Tori Birch. Unfortunately, we think, I haven't been told officially, we think she's out hurt for the year. Suffered that injury, whatever it would have been, shoulder or back, roughly a month ago. So as a result of that, Scott, they're now 0-9 in conference play, and they lost tonight to move to 0-10. Unfortunately, they're just a drastically different team without her in the circle, but it should still be an interesting one tomorrow.
Oh, and Nee takes second. That's good base running right there. So any kind of a hit will probably score 2 more.
I like that plan. Or a walk and a certain 14-10 OPS hitter on deck. Either option works.
That's up and out of play. Hartnett has batted in each of the last 3 innings. Ooh. Struck out there. For Metamora, 1 run on 2 hits. 2 runners left on base. We go to the 6th inning. Redbirds up 4-0.
And this is a big inning, Scott, as well. Obviously, the run margin is still manageable from an Eagle perspective, but also I would much rather have those big boppers come up with the game on the line with. So we'll see how we manage this inning.
For Dunlap, they lead off at the top of their order, Justice Cruz, Lexi Hammer, and Brooklyn Milholland. And they're a combined 1 for 6.
And again, do bear in mind these 2 teams will play again in Dunlap on May 16th. But as you and I mentioned earlier, Scott, it won't matter towards postseason play, but it could very well, depending on what Dunlap does with East Fiore tomorrow, it could very well have conference implications as well.
Oh, that's a pop back to the pitcher. brings up Lexi Hammer. She's 0 for 2 with a ground out to the second baseman and a K in the third.
Bad news, 2-0 count. Good news, I think this is the most behind Nora's been in that bat all night.
2-0?
I believe so. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think so. It's 3-0. You're up 4-0. You've just got the number leadoff hitter to lazily pop out to you. You don't want to give anybody a base on ball.
Can't be complacent.
Ooh, that's a strike.
I'm not going to lie, Scott. Unless it's egregiously out of the zone, I think it's free game to call a strike if you turn around like you're going down the first base if you're an umpire, don't you?
Yeah, I've always thought that was you're trying to steal a ball there, and she'll reach on a base on ball. That's her first walk of the evening, isn't it?
You'd be correct, and actually, hold on a second. Just the second successful plate appearance out of the entire top 4 of the order.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're 1 for 6. Justice Cruz had a base hit back in the third. Other than that, that's it. Brooklyn Mulholland, she's 0 for 2. She grounded out to the pitcher and was a 2-3 put out after a strikeout back in the third. Oh, and the runner will get down to second.
So that snuffs out the double play attempt because I was itching to mention the stat that Metamora does lead the middle Illini in double plays turned with 10 on the season.
That's a good pitch there. Ooh, nice pitch. Nice pitch. 2 down here in the inning. Shelby Covey, she's 0 for 2.
I say that's a hit, Scott.
Yeah, that's a
too hard hit to, get to put that on Abby's shoulders, so hit.
Caden still made a pretty good effort to get her at first base. 2 down here in the inning. Brings up Gabby Drake. She got hit by a pitch back in the fourth. Slide out to the left fielder back in the second.
This will actually be the second trip to the plate for Caitlin Atkinson, Scott, number 7.
So subs can re-enter now.
No, she's been in.
Oh. She stayed in?
The honest answer is I haven't looked closely enough, but she's hitting for the designated player as well, so there's that whole conundrum of she's not out in the field to look anywhere. At least Gabby Drake isn't. So trying to figure out where she got slotted in. So I tell you what, Scott, there's your homework for the middle of the 6th inning. See where number 7 goes out to next half inning.
That's a lot of work.
And make Tom do it.
Tom's too busy trying to take clothes off.
Big pitch, Scott.
1-2. I think I go right back up there again.
Don't blame her. Fight it and trying to preserve the shutout.
And there it was. And she got out of it. No runs, one hit, one runner, no, two runners left. We go to the bottom of the sixth. The Redbirds up 4-0. Go over to the baseball game, see what's happening there. No runners on here in this bottom half of the sixth innings. 3-1.
Now, Scott, you got a point. Unless that is Caitlin Atkinson at shortstop, can you tell who that is on your right side of the second base bag?
That I can't
Standing
tell.
in the infield on the far right of that group of four uniform number?
I can't see it.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. We got a pitching change, Scott.
Oh, who's the new pitcher?
So, I mean, that's hasn't happened often in conference play. Shanna Peterson, I do believe, got the start yesterday at Limestone. She's kind of they use a whole plethora of pitchers. I think Jermaine Fairchild's used 5 or 6 on the year.
I'll bring up Cadence Till, the Redbird hitter.
I don't know what novel of substitutions is going on over there, but this is an awful long delay in between innings. Because, see, what I'm getting at there is, so Dave Allen has to get the subs from Jermaine Fairchild, and now Dave's got to go over and report it to Derek Linder. Although he's looking, this might be a lineup card thing, Scott. But here, my question now becomes, why would Coach Fairchild wait to report it until the bottom of the sixth inning?
I know there's been I didn't think that subs could re-enter.
But then would Coach Fairchild raise the issue if it's her sub that would, for lack of better words, be in trouble? So we know it's something about the lineup card. I don't think it would be about her sub, because that would be something that Coach Linder would report. She wouldn't throw her own player under the bus. So whatever it is, Cadence is going to bat, and it doesn't look like there's any penalty on the scoreboard.
So we go to the bottom of the sixth inning. It'd be Till, Schaefer, and Pasha. Don't forget, immediately following the game, Alex Staub and Tom Hagen will have a race around the bases.
I think we got to get you on that then, Scotty, if we're going to do that.
No. They're going to go opposite directions, too. One will head towards third, the other one will head towards first.
That would not be fun.
Oh, that's a base hit. That'll get, not to the wall, but she just like scooped that up off the ground and just served that into center field, left center field. She's 3 for 3 with a walk. Well, they kept her in the park. That's got to be a minor victory. Ellie Schaefer, the Redbird hitter, she's 0 for 2 with a walk. What's the betting thing and you can get online and bet through, Alex?
This is a high school sporting event. I refuse to answer the question on grounds it may incriminate me.
Well, I think they're laying odds on you and Tom.
Minus 10,000 for me to win, of course.
2-1 the count. You're in the bottom half of the 6th. Oh, and then she's going to go right to third. That's some really good base running by Till. Wow. Nobody out. Runner on third. 3-1 count on Schaefer. Keisha waiting on deck. And she'll take a walk. Alex, I think the key to tonight is Metamora was not afraid to take a walk. They've been very patient at the plate. And even though they faced a really, really good pitcher, I think they made her throw to them, and they put pressure on her.
Agreed. And, I mean, that's what you got to do. Oh, heads up.
And that'll get another run in for Metamora. And, oh, man, that's just good base running by Pesha. Keep adding on.
But to finish my thought, Scott, again, you talk about forcing her to pitch to us, but specifically, I think the other element, not being intimidated by as dominant a stats that were on that box score for the season, and just worrying about being us.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think the fact that we weren't chasing, we didn't chase much tonight.
No, really, when you think about it, only maybe a couple pitches for the whole game, maybe 3.
Maybe. She got her fair share of strikeouts, but it's because she was pounding the strike zone, too. But, she probably was used to having some chase pitches, and we didn't do that tonight. And a lot of those pitches that maybe other teams were swinging through, we were hitting into the gaps. Great approach tonight, I thought. Great approach.
Arguably one of the most complete games of the season for Metamora as well, especially, bearing in mind arguably the second biggest game being East Peoria. Well, now it's the second biggest game, but having dropped that, I do think this is the most complete performance of the season thus far for Metamora.
I thought we played awfully. Oh, we're going to get another run. Johnson at 2-1. It is 3-1. It is 3-1. And that's a walk. That'll bring up Bailey Bender. She had a nice hit back in the fifth and got all the way to third on an E by the right fielder. Addie LaHood comes in to run for Johnson. Nice at bat by Johnson.
And Scott, this looks to be a pinch runner, so probably technically Nora's out right now, but I would assume Coach Linder will re-enter Nora for the top of the seventh to shut the door.
So why would she use a pinch runner and not a courtesy runner?
Because it's not. I think it's because it's a different runner. I could be wrong.
I think you can use any runner you want.
Outside, Addie LaHood. That's another stolen base.
Yep.
Redbirds were actually caught stealing, once, maybe twice last night at Morton. And I wouldn't say it's been a full-on bugaboo this season, but when you look at it, we have a couple threats, whether it be Ellie Schaefer, whether it be Lauren Riddle. We just don't necessarily have somebody like, to the degree of Katie Ramage last year, who was 30 of 31 all season.
That's going to get a run home. Might give her a sacrifice.
Bring them all in. Let's have a party.
Brings in Avery Taylor. 0 for 2. Walked back in the second.
That's a fair ball, Scott. It was in front of the plate. That's a successful sacrifice.
Yep. Well-executed bunt and run.
Scott, if we wanted to make this inning go a little longer, we could walk it off. I'm not saying we're going to. I mean, that would be remarkable if we could.
8-0? Allie Wooden, who homered and walked her last at bat.
I think Addie's swing is arguably the biggest of the game, not just because of it being a home run, but just because I feel like it turned the tide from having a cushion to, hey, we might actually be able to pull this off, and kind of taking that confidence to another level. So I would argue if you can try and break down a singular play of the game, that might be it.
Well, to me...
And the pitching of Nora Johnson as well, of course. She's been terrific.
But you take the 8th-place hitter, and she swings with the second pitch and hits a home run, and then just ropes one into left, or right, excuse me, ropes one into right. That was it. And that ball was roped. That's a pretty solid hitter hitting number 8.
And I tell you what, Scott, Addie, she didn't really start as much in the first half of the season, but she's now one of, I think, 4 Redbirds with an OPS north of 1,000 now. And, I mean, she's really showcasing that tonight as well. You mentioned, the home run, of course, but just like you said, the contact in general has been pretty awesome tonight.
Another base hit for Nee.
How about a walk-off 2-run hit for Kerrigan Hartnett down the line?
Hartnett. Well, first off, Kennedy Nee is 2 for 3. Wooden is 2 for 3.
And this is the 9th batter of the inning, Scott.
Yeah, it is. We've batted around. There's 2 outs. 1-1 the count. Well, that's a heck of a catch by the second baseman. Baseball game goes final. Redbirds drop it 3-1. Another hard-fought battle by the Redbirds. For Metamora softball, 4 runs on 3 hits, 2 runners left. We go to the top of the 7th. The Redbirds up 8-0. Boy, that was a ball was roped by Hartnett. Due up for the Dunlap Eagles, Cunningham. Well, it'll probably be Alex, who will be hitting in place of Santoni?
Cunningham is leading off. I don't know who will hit in place of Santoni, but if I'm Dunlap, I almost call off the Dogs here. It's 8-0 top 7.
Well, yeah. And, they were an eyelasher, maybe getting 10-run ruled right there. If that ball gets past that second base, that's a heck of a catch. But if it gets by her, will probably be sending a strongly worded letter to the Metamora administration about the lights being too bright and too hot. Cunningham leads off for the Eagles. Nice job by Alex. We won't have any interviews tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow night to Metamora Canton at 4:30, I believe.
You'd be correct. Normal start time tomorrow.
That was popped straight up. They dropped it?
Dropped it, but it rolled foul, so we'll take it.
You got to catch that.
What a game this has been for the Redbirds, huh?
For sure.
Can't say it enough. It's been a remarkable effort all night.
I do agree with you. This is their best effort.
And again, not just best effort, but specifically bearing in mind who it's against. You know, I think they've had games where they've maybe done a little better offensively, but they've done it against Dunlap.
That's why that pop-up had to be caught. Brings up Hannah Hopwood. Oh, and they ended on a double play. Boy, what a ball game. Redbirds win 8-0 against one of the best pitchers in the area, maybe the state. Huge win. We talked about it before the game, and we'll say it again. Big win for Metamora. We'll see you tomorrow night when the Redbirds take on Canton. That'll do it from Metamora High School. Redbirds win 8-0.